wind howled through the rusted towers of the trash zone. Metal scraps clanged, broken machines groaned, and the air smelled like smoke and oil. It was a dead place, forgotten by the cities above. Nothing lived here except the desperate and the broken. Alex moved carefully through the piles of junk. He wore a dirty scarf over his mouth to keep out the dust. Every day he came here to search for something useful. Old parts, wires, batteries, anything he could trade for food. He had lived this way for years, alone, quiet, hidden from the world that had given up on people like him. But today was different. As he climbed over a stack of crushed robot arms, he heard something, not metal, not wind. It was soft, a whisper, like a breath. He stopped and listened. Again, the sound. It was a whimper. He pulled out his flashlight and moved toward the sound. Under a broken transport shell, he found her. A girl. Not human. Her skin was pale blue, covered in cuts and bruises. Long white hair was tangled with wires. She was curled into a ball, shaking. Her eyes were wide, glowing faintly, and full of fear. Alex stared. He had never seen anything like her before. She looked up at him, too weak to speak. He lowered the flashlight and raised his hands. "It's okay," he said gently. "I won't hurt you." She didn't understand the words, but maybe she felt his voice. She didn't run. He knelt beside her and looked around. No one else. Just the junk. Just her. "You're hurt," he said, more to himself than to her. He reached into his bag and pulled out a water bottle. She stared at it, confused. Alex unscrewed the cap and offered it to her. She took it slowly. Her fingers were trembling. She sipped, then coughed, then drank again, a little faster. "Good," Alex said softly. "You need that." He sat beside her and opened a protein bar. He broke it into pieces and gave her a piece. She sniffed it, tasted it, then ate, like she hadn't eaten in days. Alex watched her. Something inside him stirred. This girl, this alien, had been thrown here. Like garbage, someone had done this to her. "Who are you?" he asked. She looked at him, eyes blinking slowly. She said something in a strange language. Soft, musical, but broken. He couldn't understand, but her voice was weak, afraid. Alex looked around again. He couldn't leave her here. The trash zone was dangerous, not just the machines, but the people too. Some would take her, sell her, hurt her. He sighed and stood up. "Okay," he said. "Come with me." He offered his hand. She hesitated, then slowly reached up and placed her hand in his. It was cold. Too cold. He helped her stand. She almost fell. He caught her. She leaned on him. She was small and light, fragile. Together they walked through the trash zone. Step by step. Alex led her to the hidden entrance of his shelter, a place dug under the ruins of an old building. It wasn't much, but it was safe. He guided her inside and helped her sit on the old mattress. He turned on a small heater and gave her a blanket. She curled up, still watching him. "You're safe now," he said. "No one's gonna hurt you." She didn't reply, just stared. He pointed at himself. "Alex." Then he pointed at her. She blinked, said a word softly. "Lyra." "Lyra," he repeated. "Okay, Lyra, you're gonna be okay." Her eyes softened. She looked at him differently now. Alex made her some warm soup. She sipped it slowly, never taking her eyes off him. It was like she couldn't believe someone was helping her. That night, she slept curled in the blanket. Alex sat by the small firelight thinking, where had she come from? Why was she in the trash zone? Was someone looking for her? He didn't know, but he knew one thing. He couldn't just throw her back. In a world that had forgotten people like him. Maybe he was the only one who could care. As he drifted off to sleep, he heard her voice again. Soft. One word. Alex. He opened his eyes. She was watching him. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled. Outside, the wind blew through the trash once more. But inside, something had changed. For the first time in years, Alex wasn't alone. And for the first time in her life, Lyra wasn't afraid. Shadows of the past. The next morning, Alex woke to the soft sound of breathing. The small shelter was dimly lit by the cracked solar lamp in the corner. He turned his head and saw Lyra sitting on the mattress, her knees drawn to her chest, her white hair glowing faintly in the light. Her eyes followed every movement he made. She didn't speak, not in a language he could understand. But there was something in the way she looked at him, something deep, like she was trying to remember who she was. Alex slowly sat up and rubbed his eyes. "You sleep okay?" Lyra tilted her head, then gave a tiny nod. He smiled. "Good. You're stronger today." She looked down at her hands. There were strange markings on her skin, faint like old scars, but glowing slightly now that her color was returning. Alex leaned forward. "Those lines, are they part of your kind or something they did to you?" Lyra looked at the marks, then closed her hands. She shook her head and muttered something in her own tongue. Her voice trembled. Alex sighed. "I wish I could understand. You." He stood up and opened a small locker where he kept old tech. A broken tablet, a few wires, an old translator cube. He picked up the cube, tapped it, and it buzzed softly. Maybe it still worked. He handed it to her. She stared at it, hesitated, then took it gently. She pressed a glowing symbol. The cube lit up. She spoke. The cube translated in a flat, broken voice. "No. Return. Danger." Alex froze. "What? Danger?" he asked. Lyra looked up, her eyes wide with fear. "They... coming," the cube said in her broken voice. Suddenly, the air in the shelter felt colder. Alex stepped back. "Who's coming?" Lyra whispered something again. This time, the translator said, "Hunters, metal masks, they throw me, I run, I hide." His stomach sank. Someone had left her in the trash zone on purpose, and now they were coming to finish what they started. He grabbed his old scanner from the wall and stepped outside. The sky above was gray and full of smoke. Far in the distance, where the metal hills curved into the horizon, he saw it. Movement. A black speck in the sky. Hovering. Slow. Deliberate. A drone. Not one of the cities. This was cleaner, smoother, quieter. He ran back inside. "We need to move," he said quickly. "Now." Lyra stood but swayed. She was still weak. Alex grabbed his bag, stuffed food and supplies inside, then helped her up. "Come on. We'll head to the old tunnels. They'll be safer." As they moved through the narrow alleys of broken ships and collapsed towers, Lyra suddenly stopped. She turned, her head slowly staring at something. Alex followed her gaze. On the ground, half buried in dirt, was a small device, silver and round, pulsing. He knelt and picked it up. It buzzed in his hand. "Is this yours?" he asked. Lyra nodded slowly. He turned it over and pressed the center. A blue hologram shot up from it, showing a map of a planet. Green oceans, violet, clouds, huge crystal towers. A symbol pulsed over one of the towers. Then the image shifted to flames, screaming, soldiers in metal armor. Finally, a young girl, Lyra, being forced into a dark ship. Alex's hands shook. "You were taken." She nodded. "But why?" she whispered. The translator replied, "Because of what I carry, inside." Alex stared at her. "What do you mean?" She touched her chest gently over her heart. "They want the code." Alex didn't understand, but he didn't need to. Someone powerful had hunted her down, not to hurt her, but to take something inside her. A secret, maybe a weapon, maybe a cure, but something worth killing for. They kept moving, deeper into the ruins. At one point, they passed an old scavenger camp, burned, crushed. No signs of life. Lyra trembled as she walked past it. Alex looked around, alert. They've already been here. They reached the tunnel entrance and crawled inside. It was dark, damp, but safer than the surface. They sat in silence. Finally, Alex turned to her. You don't have to tell me everything now, but I need to know one thing. Are you dangerous? Lyra looked at him, her eyes full of pain. She shook her head. Then she whispered through the cube. I only want to live. Alex nodded. Then I'll help you. From deep inside the tunnel, a faint metallic echo rang out. Something was following them. Something not human. Alex stood, ready to fight. But Lyra stepped in front of him. Her hand glowed. Her eyes turned brighter. And for the first time, Alex saw what she really was. Not just an alien girl, but something powerful, something ancient, something everyone feared. But now, she trusted him, and that made her more dangerous than ever. The voice in the metal, the tunnel grew darker as they moved forward, each step echoing off the damp stone walls. Alex's flashlight flickered, casting long, shaky shadows that danced across the jagged ceiling. Behind them, the faint sound of something metallic scraping against rock grew louder, closer. Lyra walked beside him, her face pale and serious. The soft blue glow from her hands dimmed slightly, but her eyes burned with quiet fire. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Both of them knew. They were being hunted. Alex stopped at a fork in the tunnel. Left leads to the old water station, he whispered. Right goes to the surface exit, but it's probably watched. Lyra stepped forward, listening. She crouched and touched the ground with her fingers. The translator cube buzzed to life. Left, safer. Metal voice. Right path. Alex frowned. Metal voice? She looked up at him. Drone, not just machine, it speaks. Speaks? He asked, confused. To who? She hesitated, then tapped the translator again. To me. Alex's blood ran cold. You mean they can talk to you? She nodded, then whispered. They are calling now. Alex heard nothing, but Lyra's hands trembled. She clutched her head for a moment as if something was inside her mind, whispering in a voice only she could hear. What are they saying? Alex asked gently. She looked up. Give up. Return. Stop running. Alex clenched his jaw. Not gonna happen. They turned left, deeper into the tunnel. Soon, the walls changed. Metal pipes ran along the ceiling, dripping rusty water. Old. Machines sat dead in corners, covered in mold and dust. This place had been abandoned for decades, but Alex had passed through it once long ago as a kid. They moved quietly, but the air shifted. It felt watched. Suddenly, the translator buzzed without her touching it. You cannot hide. She belongs to us. Alex froze. The voice was cold, mechanical, hollow. Lyra backed against the wall, her eyes wide. Go, she whispered. They found us. Alex grabbed her hand, pulling her behind a collapsed pillar. Just then, a red beam swept across the tunnel wall. A searchlight. A floating metal sphere hovered into view. It had long black limbs that bent like spider legs and a single red eye that blinked with cruel precision. Alex didn't breathe. The drone paused, scanned the air, then moved on. As soon as it turned the corner, Alex and Lyra ran. They dashed through twisted pipes and broken walkways, jumping over cables and fallen beams. The drone shrieked behind them, high-pitched, angry. More came. 3. 4. One of them launched a small spike into the wall right beside Alex's head. Sparks flew. This way, Alex shouted, pulling Lyra into a broken service door. They slammed. It shut behind them and dropped into a dark shaft. They landed in water. Icy. Filthy. Alex sputtered and pulled Lyra up. She clung to him, coughing. They were in a flooded room, ankle-deep in black water. Above them, the machine screamed and flew past the grate. They were safe. For now. Lyra sat on a broken pipe, her arms wrapped around her knees. Alex leaned against the wall, panting. Okay, that was close. Lyra looked up, her face serious. They will not stop. Alex nodded. Then we won't either. She stared at him. Something inside her eyes changed. Not fear. Something else. Hope. But also sorrow. She reached into her robe and pulled out a small metal crystal. She pressed it, and a soft light glowed from inside. A voice came from it. Female. Calm. Alien. 2. Whoever finds this. She is not a weapon. She is not a tool. She is the last hope of our kind. Protect her, or everything will die. The message faded. Alex's hands tightened into fists. They want what's inside you. But they don't understand it, do they? Lyra shook her head. They want to break it, control it. And you? He asked. She whispered. I want to live. Alex stood. Then we fight. She looked at him, her eyes full of something strange. Devotion. You saved me, she said. He turned to her. And I'll keep doing it, no matter what they send. Above, the sound of drilling began. The drones were trying to break through. Alex looked at the wall. There was another way out, but it wasn't safe. Come on, he said. We go deeper. We find what they're afraid of. The truth, the reason they want you so badly. Lyra stood. Her glow returned, and together they vanished into the shadows. The metal voice screamed behind them, but it was too late. Something had changed. They weren't running anymore. They were about to make the hunters afraid. The city beneath the Rustalex and Lyra stepped deeper into the broken tunnels, where few dared to walk and none returned. The path twisted, filled with rusted machines, collapsed bridges and glowing mushrooms that pulsed like breathing hearts. Water dripped from above, echoing like footsteps. The smell of oil, blood, and time was thick in the air, but Lyra walked, with more strength now. Her glow was steadier, and Alex felt it. Something had awakened inside her since they escaped the drones, something bigger than fear. They came to a wall covered in old alien writing etched deep into the metal. Lyra stopped and ran her fingers across it. Her eyes widened. Alex stepped beside her. You know this? She nodded. What does it say? She tapped the translator cube. It crackled, then spoke. Here sleeps the echo of the ancients, the ones who guarded the stars, until their time ran out. Alex frowned. Sounds like a grave. Lyra looked at him. Not a grave. A door. She pressed her palm against the wall. A sharp click echoed through the tunnel. Then the wall split open. Inside was a chamber of smooth black stone, lit by lines of glowing blue energy. In the center stood a large machine shaped like a ring, floating above the ground and humming softly. It was old, older than anything Alex had ever seen, older than the war, older than the trash zone. Lyra stepped forward, her body reacting to the room. The machine pulsed brighter with each step she took. Alex looked around. What is this place? The translator buzzed. This is where they made me. His breath caught. You mean here? She nodded slowly. This was a sanctuary for starborn children like me. Long ago, she touched a console. Holograms burst to life. Alien scientists, children laughing, the stars spinning in perfect rhythm. Then, a new image appeared. Metal soldiers, explosions, destruction. Then silence. Lyra's voice broke through. They destroyed all of us. I ran. They hunted. I hid. Now, only I remain. Alex stared at her. You're not just special, he said. You're the last, she nodded. And they want to use me. Open the gate. What gate? She looked at the floating ring. This one. It leads beyond. Alex felt a chill. Before he could ask more, the chamber lights blinked red. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnel outside. They were found. Alex grabbed Lyra's hand. How many? She closed her eyes. Her body glowed brighter. 8. No, 10. Drones. 1. Commander. They ran to the back of the chamber. Alex spotted a narrow path behind the main console, hidden behind cables. They slipped through, just as the chamber door exploded. Metal soldiers in black armor stormed in. Their faces were covered, their weapons aimed at everything. One of them, taller, broader, spoke in a harsh voice. She is here. Find the carrier. Alive. From their hiding place, Alex whispered, Carrier. Lyra nodded. They think I hold the seed. What seed? A star key. A code. They believe it unlocks all gates. They want to control every world. Alex stared at her. And you? She whispered. I just want to choose my own path. Behind them, another tunnel led upward. They climbed, fast and silent, but the noise below grew louder. Then, something strange happened. The floating ring began to glow. One of the soldiers touched it. A flash of blue light swallowed him. He screamed and vanished. The others stepped back. Unauthorized. Contact, the chamber machine said in a voice that echoed like thunder. Genetic code not recognized. Purge initiated. Metal arms extended from the walls, firing beams of pure light. Screams. Fire. Chaos. Alex and Lyra looked back from the top of the stairs. The entire chamber lit up like a sun, burning everything inside. They kept running. But Alex couldn't shake what he saw. That machine, it protected her, as if she was part of it. They reached the surface again, through a hidden vent that led to the edge of the trash zone. The sky above was darker than before. Ships hovered in the distance. Scanners searched the ground. Lyra crouched, low. Alex checked his rifle, though it barely had power left. We can't run forever, he said. Lyra looked toward the stars. Then we rise, she said softly. We go to the city. Which one? The forbidden one. Where the Sky Watchers sleep. Alex stared at her. You're talking about the tower ruins? That place was sealed off for decades. Not for me. Her hand pulsed again, and, for a brief moment, Alex saw what she truly was. Not just a girl, not even just a survivor, but a living key. To a war no one understood yet, and everyone feared. The forbidden tower, the wind was sharp at the edge of the trash zone. Broken metal howled like ghosts as it rushed through shattered towers and dead air vents. Alex crouched behind an old vent duct, watching the patrol ship pass overhead. Lyra was beside him, her hand pressed to the ground, eyes closed, listening. They're searching everywhere now, Alex whispered. They are afraid, she answered, barely above a breath. He looked at her. Afraid of you? She opened her eyes. Afraid of what I might unlock. Beyond the crumbled horizon stood a massive black structure, half sunken in the earth, covered in vines and ash. The Forbidden Tower, once a research outpost of the ancients, now forgotten, sealed, surrounded by warnings in every known language. No one who entered ever returned. But Lyra said the gate they needed was inside. A real one. A stargate that could take her home, or into danger worse than death. Alex had seen war, seen hunger and betrayal. But now for the first time he felt like something bigger was moving. Something ancient, and he was standing in the middle of it. They moved at nightfall, through the waste fields, past the husks of old war walkers, under cables thick as trees. Every few minutes, Alex scanned the sky. The drones were still out there, but they were circling wider now, distracted by the destruction back in the underground chamber. How do we get inside? Alex asked as they approached the base of the tower. Lyra stepped forward and placed her palm on the sealed black door. A faint hum answered. Lights flickered across the surface. Then the metal began to melt. Not burn, not crack. Melt, like it was obeying her touch. The door slid open with a groan. Inside, the air was dry and old. Dust floated like tiny ghosts. Machines lined the walls, long dead but still humming softly with hidden energy. They entered, and the door sealed behind them. Alex flicked on his flashlight. They walked through a hallway of silence. Symbols covered the walls. Not just alien, but layered, ancient, overlapping languages. "These are star scripts," Lyra whispered. "You can read them?" "Some." "Enough." Alex glanced at her. "What do they say?" She read aloud slowly. "This vault holds the map and the lock. Beware the echo, the voice that remembers all." He frowned. "What does that mean?" Before she could answer, a low voice filled the air. Identity match detected. "Welcome, child of Solari." A blue light floated above them, taking shape, tall, thin, glowing. Not a person, not a machine. Something in between. "Whoa," Alex said, raising his weapon. "Don't," Lyra said softly. "It's not alive." The voice continued. "You seek the gate, but the gate demands proof. The key must remember who she is." "I remember," Lyra said firmly. The light moved closer. "Do you? Then prove it." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted. Alex stumbled. The walls spun, everything blurred. Then, they were no longer in the hallway. They stood in a field of stars, floating. Above them, cities of light. Below them, oceans of fire. Alex gasped. "What is this?" "A memory chamber," Lyra said. "It's testing me." "If you fail?" She didn't answer. Then came the voices. Screaming, laughing, begging. 1,000 alien voices, children, elders, soldiers, all swirling in the air. "Traitor!" She let the key fall. "She must pay." Lyra grabbed her head. "No, stop." Alex reached for her. "Lyra." But she stepped away, surrounded by light. Her eyes turned pure white. And then, darkness. When she opened her eyes again, they were in a cold stone room. A throne sat at the far end, and on it, a version of Lyra, older, dressed, in robes of silver, staring with empty eyes. "Who are you?" Alex asked. The older Lyra didn't move. She spoke one word. "Failure." Lyra stepped forward. "No, I am not her. I escaped. I survived." "Survival is not victory," the echo said. "You ran. I lived," Lyra said through clenched teeth. "And now I fight." Light burst from her chest. The crystal she had hidden before floated into the air. It glowed so bright Alex had to shield his eyes. The echo screamed. The room cracked. Then everything shattered. They were back in the hallway. The light. Being hovered in silence. Test complete. Gate now accessible. A door opened at the end of the corridor. Beyond it, a spiral stair led down, deep into the heart of the tower. "You okay?" Alex asked. Lyra nodded, weak, but her voice was stronger. "I remembered who I am." Alex touched her shoulder. "Who are you?" She looked at him. "I am the lock, and the key, and the fire they tried to erase." They walked down together, toward the gate, but neither of them saw what moved in the shadows above. A figure, taller than a man, armored in black. Its red eyes locked onto Lyra, and its voice, like rusted blades, whispered, "Now, you come to me." The one who waits in shadows. The spiral staircase felt like it stretched into the center of a forgotten planet. Each step Alex and Lyra took echoed through the stone walls, bouncing into the dark like warning signals. As they descended, the air thickened, colder, heavier, like something ancient was watching. The gate chamber was close, but so was something else. Lyra could feel it crawling beneath her skin. Not pain, not fear, recognition. They reached the bottom. A massive chamber opened before them, shaped like a circle, walls covered in pulsating runes, and in the center, floating above a stone altar, was the Stargate. Not a machine, not entirely. It pulsed like a heart, ancient and alive, black like obsidian but lined with glowing threads of silver. It rotated slowly in the air, humming a low tune that seemed to speak to Lyra's bones. Alex stared in awe. "This is it?" "Yes," Lyra whispered. "The original gate. Built before language. It listens. And it judges." He stepped closer. "Can it take you home?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, or to the memory of it." Alex turned to her. "What do you mean?" But before she could answer, the lights in the chamber dimmed. A shadow stepped out from behind the altar. It was tall, nearly twice Alex's height, wrapped in segmented armor that looked like it was grown, not forged. The face was covered by a smooth black mask with 3 glowing red eyes. And on its chest, a symbol Alex had seen before. The same one that appeared in Lyra's hologram. The same one on the drones. This was no drone. This was something far worse. "She is mine," the figure said, voice like rust and thunder. Lyra froze. "Kale," she whispered. "The warden." Alex raised his weapon, but Lyra grabbed his arm. "Don't. He doesn't fear bullets." Kyle stepped closer. "You should have stayed hidden, little one. You could have died in silence, peacefully. Instead, you woke the gate." Alex kept his voice steady. "She's not going with you." Kyle tilted his head. "You misunderstand. I do not want her. I want what she carries, the gate's seed. Her flesh is unimportant." Lyra stood taller now. "You failed to break me before. You won't now." Kyle raised a long, black hand. Light flickered behind him, and suddenly the walls came alive with crawling machines. Dozens of spider-like drones, their legs clinking against the stone. "You have no army," he said. "You are one. And broken." Alex stepped forward. "Wrong. She's not one. She has me." Kyle looked at him. "A human? A scavenger? You are nothing." "Then you underestimated nothing," Alex said, and pulled a hidden EMP grenade from his belt. He tossed it. The explosion of blue light lit the room like a thunderstorm. The drones screamed and dropped. Kale staggered, his armor sparking. Lyra moved. She ran to the gate and placed her palm on the altar. The room shook. "Recognition. Complete," said a deep voice from the gate. Sequence unlocked. A blinding light spread out in all directions. Runes lifted into the air and spun. Kyle roared and charged at her. Alex jumped between them, firing his rifle. The bullet slowed Kyle but didn't stop him. Kyle raised his arm to strike, but Lyra turned, and for the first time, her entire body burned with light. Her eyes were stars, her voice became many. "I am not yours," she said. "I am not the key. I am the gatekeeper." She raised both hands. Energy flew from her palms like lightning. Kale screamed as the power hit him. His armor cracked. His mask split. Alex watched in shock as the face beneath was revealed. Half flesh, half metal, ancient, full of rage and pain. "You were created to protect us," Lyra said. "But you became the cage." Kale collapsed to his knees. "You were never meant to wake." Lyra stepped closer. "But I did." She touched his forehead. A pulse of white light surged through him. And then, he vanished, not burned, not shattered, just gone. Silence returned to the chamber. The gate now spun faster. The altar lit with symbols none of them could read. But Lyra seemed to understand. She looked at Alex, her face soft now. "It's open," she said. "I can go." Alex looked at her. "Go where?" "Not just home. To the others. To the last sparks of my kind. The gate remembers them. They called me. I hear them now." He stepped back, his voice low. "Then go." But she didn't move. "Come, with me," she said. "I don't belong there," he said quietly. "I'm just a man who lives in trash." She smiled. "You're the only reason I made it here." The gate pulsed. Time was running out. "If you walk through," she said, "you walk with me." Alex looked at her one last time and then nodded. "Let's see what's on the other side." They stepped into the light together. Behind them, the tower sealed. And above, in the dead skies, the last of the hunters began to fade. Without their master, without their target, they were dust. But somewhere in the stars, a new light was awakening. Forgotten race, a human and a starborn girl, and a gate that no longer feared being opened. The stars remember their own. The gate light was blinding. Not like fire, not like lightning. It was the kind of light that didn't just burn the eyes. It burned memory, silence, even time itself. Alex felt his body stretch and twist as he stepped through it with Lyra. He didn't scream. He didn't breathe. He just was, moving through something so old, so vast, that no human mind should have survived it. But somehow, he did. Then, silence. Then, sky. He landed on soft ground, coughing, shaking. The air was cool, not dead, like Earth's ruins. It smelled of wind, stone, and something like music. He looked up and froze. They stood on a cliff under a pale green sky. 2 moons floated above them, and stars glittered like diamonds scattered across a canvas. Below the cliff was a glowing forest, trees taller than buildings, their leaves shining softly in colors he'd never seen before. Lyra stepped forward, her glow brighter than ever. "This is the Shard World," she said quietly. It was one of the last. Alex looked around. What happened to it? They silenced it, sealed the gate so no voice could escape. Alex walked beside her. And now? She looked at him. Now, it wakes. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, like something old was taking its first breath in centuries. Suddenly they heard it, a voice. Soft, a whisper on the wind. "You have returned." From the trees below, glowing figures began to appear. Tall, elegant, translucent. Not ghosts. Echoes. The last memory of a civilization nearly erased, Lyra stepped down the slope slowly, toward them. The echoes moved with her. They did not speak words. They shared thoughts, memories, a flash of children playing under silver suns, great cities floating in the sky. Then fire, betrayal, and silence. They surrounded Lyra, glowing brighter. One stepped forward, a female echo, with features much like Lyra's. Her voice echoed in Alex's head. "You carry the seed, and the pain." Lyra nodded. "But I also carry him." They all turned toward Alex, a human. The thought was curious, cautious, surprised. "He is the reason I survived," Lyra said. "He has no code, no gate blood. And yet, he fought for me when my own kind did not." Alex shifted awkwardly. "I didn't do anything special, just kept us alive." "That is enough," one echo said. "For us, that is everything." They moved aside, revealing a wide path of floating steps leading into the forest. At the end stood a crystal spire, half broken, but still alive with energy. "The core," Lyra whispered. "If we awaken it, the others will hear." Alex looked around. The others? The last worlds. Those who still hide. They're waiting for the call. As they walked toward the spire, a terrible sound tore through the sky. A burning black ship descended from the clouds, its engines screaming. "Impossible," Lyra said. "Kale is gone!" But the ship opened, and from it a new figure stepped out. Not Kale, but something worse. A human. Or what once was. Twisted with machine, its face split by wires, eyes replaced with red lights. Armor made from the bones of drones, and old steel. "I watched you open the gate," it said. Its voice was broken, stitched from 100 dead signals. "You brought light. And I bring the dark." Alex raised his weapon. Lyra's body glowed again, brighter than ever. But the machine man lifted a weapon that pulsed like a miniature gate. "If I can't control you," he hissed, "I'll destroy the last of you." He fired, The pulse shot forward, screaming with ancient energy. Alex stepped in front of Lyra, and everything went white. When he opened his eyes, he was floating in light again. Lyra stood beside him. His body was glowing, but different. Not like her, his was golden, warm, new. "You were touched by the gate," she said softly. "It changed you." He looked at his hands. "Am I like you?" She shook her head. "You're still human. But now, more." The echo voices returned. "He has become a bridge. He can open the gates not with blood but with choice. He is the lost key." Alex looked at the sky. The machine man was gone. Dust. No scream, just silence. But not emptiness. The spire glowed now, stronger. Calling. Across galaxies, hidden gates responded. Lights blinked in distant shadows. Planets once silent turned toward the stars. They were listening. "What happens now?" Alex asked. Lyra smiled. "Now, they come back." And from the sky, one by one, ships began to appear. Small, graceful, alien but not unknown. The survivors. The scattered ones. Returning home, and beside them, the one human who never planned to be a hero. Just a man from the trash zone. Now the center of a new galaxy. Because he chose to care. Because he said yes. Because, in a world of dying stars, he rescued one girl, Ma, and she became his world. The end.